The sun was setting behind the broken mountains of Wriggle 4, the mining colony where Ethan worked as a simple repair technician. Every evening, the colony turned silent, cold, and gray. Only the sound of old machines echoed in the distance. Most workers hurried back to their quarters before nightfall because strange things always happened after dark, missing tools. Shadows moving on the rooftops and whispers of thieves sneaking around. Ethan was walking back from his long shift, wiping grease off his hands when he noticed something strange near the old supply yard. Two small shadows moved behind the stacked metal crates. At first, Ethan ignored it. He thought it was some wild animal searching for scraps. But then he heard a soft sound, almost a whimper. It made him stop. He took a slow step forward. Another whimper. It didn't sound like an animal. It sounded like children. Ethan frowned. Human children never lived on this colony. Too dangerous, too dirty, and too unstable. So who was hiding out here? He walked closer and gently spoke. "Hello, who's there?" No answer, only silence. Then a tiny pair of glowing eyes appeared from behind the crates. A small head slowly rose, followed by a second one. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. Two alien children. They looked weaker than any kids he had ever seen. Their skin was pale with faint glowing lines running across their arms like cracked gold veins. Their clothes were torn, covered in dust, and far too thin for the cold night. The younger one had a trembling lip, and the older one pushed him slightly behind for protection. Both stared at Ethan like scared animals, ready to run. Ethan raised his hand slowly. "Hey, it's okay. I'm not going to hurt you." Still no reply. He stepped forward again, and the younger child flinched like he'd been struck. Ethan stopped instantly. Something about their eyes told him they hadn't eaten in days. Their bodies were shaking from hunger and fear. "Are you hungry?" Ethan asked softly. The older child looked unsure, but the younger one nodded quickly. Ethan opened his lunch pack. It wasn't much, just a small piece of bread, some dried fruit, and a warm nutrient bar he saved for later. He placed the food on the ground and stepped back. At first, the kids didn't move. They watched him carefully, making sure it wasn't a trick. Then the younger one rushed forward, grabbed the bread, and began eating like he hadn't tasted food in weeks. The older one joined him after a few seconds, taking tiny bites, keeping his eyes always on Ethan. Ethan felt something heavy settle in his chest. No child should be this hungry. No child should be this afraid. He tried speaking again. "Where are your parents? Do you have a home here?" The older one shook his head slowly. "Do you understand me?" A nod. "Where are you from?" The older child pointed toward the distant mountains and whispered something in a soft, trembling voice. The word was strange, but Ethan caught parts of it. Mother. Danger. Hunters. Ethan froze. Hunters? His eyes scanned the empty sky. For now, everything was quiet. But the colony had no forests, no wildlife, nothing that required hunters. The children must be talking about something or someone else. He looked down at them again. They were too tired to even stand properly. The younger one leaned on the older one's shoulder, struggling to stay awake. Ethan couldn't leave them out here. The security forces were harsh with unregistered species. If they found these kids, they would arrest them. Or worse. His conscience screamed inside him. He knew helping aliens without registration papers was illegal on the colony. He knew he could get into big trouble. But right now, looking at the two trembling children, none of that mattered. "Come with me," Ethan said gently. "I'll take you somewhere safe." The older child hesitated. But the younger one took Ethan's hand with tiny shaking fingers. That small touch was enough. The older sibling silently followed. Ethan led them through quiet alleyways, avoiding security patrols as he moved toward his small metal home on the colony's edge. Every time a patrol ship flew overhead, the kids panicked and gripped Ethan's arm tightly. They trembled whenever bright lights swept the streets. What scared them this much? Once inside his little home, Ethan locked the door carefully. It wasn't much, just a worn sofa, a heating unit, a small kitchen, and a tiny sleeping corner. But it was warm. It was safe. The children looked around like they had never been inside a real home before. "You can rest here," Ethan said softly. The younger one sat on the floor, hugging his knees. The older child remained standing, watching the door with nervous eyes, as if expecting it to break open any second. Ethan placed 2 blankets around them. When he touched the older child's shoulder, he felt the tension in their body. "You're safe," Ethan repeated. "I promise." The children finally relaxed, just a little. After a few minutes, they fell asleep huddled together, using each other for warmth like abandoned kittens. Ethan quietly sat on the sofa, trying to understand what he had just done. Why were they alone? Who were they running from? And what did the word hunters mean? Before he could think more, he heard a distant sound. A deep rumble. Ethan rushed to the small window, and his entire world froze. 3 massive warships entered the colony's orbit. Their engines glowed blood red, leaving a trail of burning light. They weren't the normal patrol ships. They were heavy-class military carriers, ones that only arrived during serious emergencies. Within seconds, the colony alarms began to scream, "Attention! Unknown fleet approaching. All citizens return indoors." Ethan felt his stomach twist. Were these ships looking for the children? As the ships hovered above, dozens of small landing crafts shot downward like falling stars, spreading across the colony. Soldiers in dark armor marched through the streets, scanning every corner, searching every home. The colony was turning into a hunting ground. Ethan looked back at the 2 sleeping alien children. Their small faces were peaceful, unaware that the sky had just filled with danger. His heart pounded. Had he made a huge mistake by bringing them here? Or was he the only person standing between them and something terrible? Outside, the soldiers shouted orders. Heavy boots shook the ground. A spotlight swept across Ethan's home. He stepped away from the window and whispered to himself, "Who are you kids? And why is the whole galaxy suddenly here?" The younger child stirred in sleep, whispering softly again, "Mother, coming." Ethan didn't know what that meant, but deep inside, he felt the first spark of fear. This was not a simple rescue. This was something far bigger, something powerful, something dangerous, and he was now part of it. The colony did not sleep that night. Heavy boots marched through every street, every alley, every narrow path that cut between the metal buildings. Bright lights from patrol drones flashed through windows like lightning. Loudspeakers shouted warnings again and again, demanding all citizens stay inside. Ethan kept the lights in his small home off. He stood by the window, peeking through a thin crack in the curtain. Soldiers in dark armor were scanning the area. Their helmets had long glowing visors, and each one carried a powerful rifle with red, laser sights. Ethan felt sweat on his neck. They were looking for someone, or something. Behind him, the 2 alien children slept, curled together under blankets. They were so small, so innocent. Yet somehow, entire warships had come into orbit because of them. Ethan whispered to himself, "Why are they so important?" He didn't have an answer. A loud crash echoed outside. Ethan flinched. 2 soldiers kicked open the door of the house across the street. The family inside screamed as soldiers rushed in to scan them. After a moment, the soldiers left. No arrest. No shots fired, but they were searching with desperation. Something had happened. Something big. Something dangerous. And Ethan knew the children sleeping in his home were connected to all of it. Suddenly, the older child woke up, gasping for air, like he had been dreaming of something terrible. His glowing eyes widened at the sound of soldiers marching close by. "They are here," the child whispered. "Who?" Ethan asked. "Bad men. They want us. Why?" The older child hesitated, then said, "We escaped." Escaped from what? Ethan pressed. The child shook his head. We cannot tell. It is dangerous. Before Ethan could ask more, the house shook. A deep metallic thud hit the ground nearby. Ethan rushed to the window and saw a large transport craft landing close to his street. Soldiers jumped out, forming lines, blocking every exit. The older child grabbed Ethan's arm. Please, we must go. They will find us. Where do you want to go? Ethan whispered. Far, away from them. Ethan rubbed his forehead. He was only a repair worker. He wasn't a fighter. He had no weapons. But he couldn't leave these kids to soldiers who looked ready to shoot anything. Okay, he said. We're leaving. The children nodded quickly. Ethan opened the back door slowly. Cold night air rushed in. The streets behind his house were darker, quieter, and half abandoned. Old machinery and metal junk filled the area. Perfect for hiding. Stay close, Ethan whispered. They moved quickly, staying low, ducking behind crates and broken mining equipment. Every few seconds, Ethan looked back to make sure the children were following him. Their small feet made almost no sound. As they reached the old mining tunnels, Ethan heard voices behind them. They couldn't have gone far. Search every house. Find the children. The Empress must not know. Ethan froze. Empress? What Empress? Who were these children? He pushed the thought away and led them through a narrow tunnel entrance. Inside, the air was cold and smelled like dust and metal. It was dark except for the dim lights flickering on the walls. Ethan whispered, We can hide here for now. The younger child clung to his arm. Thank you. Human, Ethan, he corrected softly. My name is Ethan. The child's eyes warmed. Ethan. Ethan smiled slightly, but the moment didn't last long. A loud engine roared outside. More soldiers were arriving. Ethan pulled the children deeper into the tunnels. They walked for several minutes until they reached a broken elevator shaft that led down to old mining levels. Ethan kneeled and checked the old cables. They were still strong enough. We're going down, Ethan said. The older child looked uncertain. Is it safe? No, Ethan said honestly. But it's safer than staying up there. He helped the children climb onto the old cable. Ethan went last, making sure he kept his arms around them as they slowly slid down. It wasn't far, only a 10-meter drop, but it felt like forever. They landed on an old mining platform covered in dust. Suddenly, loud footsteps echoed above them. We found the house. Someone helped them escape. Search all tunnels. No mistakes. The mother will destroy us if she discovers. Their voices faded as they moved deeper into the tunnels above. Ethan covered the children with his arms. The younger one was shaking with fear. The older one whispered, They fear her. They fear Mother so much. Ethan frowned. Then why are they trying to take you away from her? The older child swallowed hard. They are traitors. They want power. They want to control her. They want to use us. Ethan felt his stomach twist. These kids weren't just refugees. They were targets in a galactic power struggle. And somehow, Ethan was now protecting them. They moved through the old mining shafts, stepping over broken rails and abandoned machinery. The lights flickered. The air grew colder. Suddenly, the younger child grabbed Ethan's sleeve. Listen. Ethan stopped. A soft humming sound filled the tunnel, growing louder and louder. Then a blinding blue light flashed behind them. Run! Ethan shouted. They sprinted through the tunnel as a drone appeared, scanning the area with harsh blue beams. The drone fired a laser shot that hit the wall, sending sparks flying. Ethan covered the children with his body and pushed them behind a metal pillar. The drone scanned again. The older child pulled something from his pocket, a small stone glowing with golden light. He held it in front of the drone. The drone beeped once, twice, and shut down, falling to the ground. Ethan stared in shock. What was that?" "A family stone," the older child whispered. "Mother gave it to us. It protects us." Ethan swallowed. This mother was sounding more terrifying and powerful by the second. They continued deeper into the tunnels until they reached an exit that opened into the old cargo yards. Rusted containers, broken ships, and old mining vehicles lay scattered around. The children looked exhausted. Ethan kneeled beside them. "Just a little more. We need to get away from the soldiers." But before they could move, a sharp voice echoed across the yard. "Stop!" Ethan turned. A squad of soldiers stood behind them, weapons raised. Red targeting lasers pointed at his chest. "Step away from the children," the leader said, "or we will fire." The children screamed and clung to Ethan. Ethan raised his hands. "They're just kids. Leave them alone." "They are not just kids," the soldier growled. "They belong to someone far above your understanding." The older child whispered in fear. "Ethan, please." The soldier stepped closer. "We will take them. And you, human, will be erased for interfering." The younger child cried. Ethan pulled them close, preparing for the worst. Then the ground shook. A deep rumble. Strong wind. A blinding golden light spread across the sky. Everyone, soldiers, children, and Ethan looked up. A massive golden ship descended from the clouds. Not like the dark warships. This one glowed with energy. It was elegant, beautiful, godlike. The soldiers dropped their weapons instantly. The older child gasped, tears filling his eyes. "She is here," he whispered. "Mother has come." The golden ship came down like a falling sun, bright enough to turn the night into day. Dust swirled everywhere, metal containers rattled loudly, and the soldiers shielding their eyes dropped to their knees as the ship hovered above the ground. Ethan hugged the two alien children tightly, trying to protect them from the shockwaves. The older child whispered, voice trembling with excitement and fear, "Mother." The golden ship settled gently, though its size was enough to crush half the cargo yard. A glowing ramp extended down, touching the ground with a soft clang. Warm golden light spread across the area, pushing back the darkness. The soldiers who, moments earlier, had been threatening Ethan now bowed deeply, fear shaking their voices. We are loyal. Please spare us." Ethan watched, stunned. Whoever was inside that ship controlled the galaxy through pure presence. No orders were needed. Just her arrival made trained soldiers fall apart. Then she stepped out, a tall woman, glowing like a living star. Her armor was elegant, white gold with flowing lines, and her eyes shone with a warm golden light that seemed both gentle and terrifying. Her hair floated as if touched by invisible wind, and every step she took echoed with power. The children broke free from Ethan's arms. "Mother!" The woman's eyes softened instantly. She knelt, spreading her arms wide as the children ran into them. She held them close, her hands trembling as she checked their faces, touched their hair, and whispered something in a language Ethan didn't know. For a moment, she was not an empress, not a ruler, not a superpower, just a mother who had found her lost children. When she finally rose, she turned her gaze toward Ethan. The soldiers froze, their weapons raised earlier now, lying useless on the ground. Some even crawled backward, terrified of what she would do. Ethan felt his heart pound. He had never seen eyes like hers. They were warm, but also carried the weight of galaxies. She walked toward him slowly, children holding both her hands. Ethan swallowed hard. I didn't mean any trouble. I just found them hungry and scared." The Empress stopped right in front of him. Her voice was calm, soft, yet powerful enough to silence the entire colony. "You fed my children." Ethan nodded nervously. They were starving. You protected them. I couldn't leave them behind." She looked at her children, then back at him. "For that," she said softly, You have earned the gratitude of my entire dominion." A wave of golden energy spread from her feet, washing over the soldiers. They trembled violently. Ethan frowned. Who are they? Why were they chasing the kids? The Empress turned her head toward the traitor soldiers. Her warm eyes turned cold. They betrayed my throne. They attempted to steal my children to use them as leverage. They wish to control the galaxy by controlling my heart. The soldiers cried out. "Mercy, Empress. We were forced. We only followed orders." Her gaze hardened. "You followed greed." With one gentle wave of her hand, the golden energy wrapped around the traitors. They floated into the air, bound by shimmering restraints. "You will stand trial before my council," she said. "You will answer for every fear you caused my children." Her voice held no anger, just truth. And that truth was heavier than any threat. The soldiers vanished in a flash of golden light as she teleported them away. Silence filled the cargo. Ethan watched with wide eyes. She was powerful, more powerful than anything he could imagine. But she wasn't cruel. There was sadness in the way she looked at her children. A soft grief that only mothers carried. She approached Ethan again. "What is your name, human?" "Ethan, just Ethan." She nodded. "Ethan of Earth, simple repair worker. No rank, no title. Yet you risked everything to protect my children." "I just did what felt right," Ethan said quietly. A small smile formed on her face. Many say such words. Few act on them. The older child tugged at her robe. "Mother, Ethan is good. He saved us from the bad men." The younger child nodded quickly. "He gave us food. Warm home." The Empress looked at Ethan with gratitude shining in her eyes. "You eased their suffering. You gave them safety. Something even my armies failed to do." She raised her hand, and a golden seal of light appeared in her palm. "This is the Empress's mark," she said. "A symbol few receive. With this, no one in the galaxy may harm you. No empire may arrest you. No world may deny you entry." Ethan stared at the glowing mark. "But I'm just a worker." "You are a hero to my family," she said simply. "And that is enough." Before he could speak, she placed the mark gently against his chest. It shimmered before fading into his skin. Ethan felt a warm pulse travel through his body, filling him with a strange sense of strength. The children hugged him tightly. "Ethan, now you are safe forever." He laughed awkwardly. "I guess so." The Empress stepped forward and bowed her head slightly, a gesture that shocked both her guards and Ethan. No ruler has ever bowed to a human, a guard whispered in awe. Ethan's heart thumped. You don't have to bow to me." She straightened. "I bow to kindness, Ethan, for kindness is the rarest power of all." Her golden ship hummed behind her, preparing for departure. "Come with us," she suddenly said. "Live in the celestial palace. Let my people honor you. Let my children thank you every day." Ethan blinked in surprise. "Me? Live with you?" "Yes," she said. "You saved the most precious things in my life. I want you close, where no harm can reach you." It was tempting, beautiful worlds, endless safety, a life of luxury. But Ethan looked at the colony around him. His tools. His small home. His simple life. "I don't know if I belong in a palace," he admitted. The Empress smiled gently. "Then stay who you are. Live your life here. But know this, my protection will follow you wherever you go." She placed a small golden crystal in his hand. "If ever you need me, break this." The older child hugged his leg. "We will come back to visit you." The younger one waved excitedly. "Ethan, friend." Ethan felt warmth bloom in his chest. "You too. Stay safe, okay?" "We will," they said together. The Empress turned to her ship, holding her children's hands. She paused before stepping onto the ramp and said softly, "The galaxy is wide, Ethan of Earth, but today, your kindness became the brightest light in it." The golden ramp lifted. The ship rose, the ground shaking under its power. Golden light wrapped around it, and with a soft thunder, it shot upward into the stars. Ethan watched until the glow faded. The colony became quiet again, not from fear, but from awe. He stood alone in the empty yard, holding the warm crystal in his hand, realizing that a simple act, feeding 2 hungry children, had changed his destiny forever. And somewhere among the stars, the most powerful woman in the galaxy whispered to her children, "Remember, kindness is stronger than power. If you want,